Alright, welcome to one of the longest lessons that we're going to go through in this course. So I'm gonna cut to the chase, and I'm gonna try to go as fast as possible. If you need to pause it, rewind it, then you do it, okay? So how do we identify parallel and perpendicular lines? So let's cut to the chase. We already know that parallel lines have the same slope. Okay, now we're doing the algebraic way. And perpendicular lines have slopes whose product is -1. That really doesn't help you that much. Okay, it means that the slopes are opposite reciprocals. Meaning what? Okay, if the slope of one line is 3/2, then if you're going to write the equation of the perpendicular line, then you're gonna be using a slope of -2/3. In other words, for perpendicular lines, flip the fraction. 3/2 becomes 2/3 and change the sign. As simple as that. Flip the fraction and change the sign. All right, let's go to the guided practice. Writing an equation of parallel lines. Okay, so write an equation that contains 5,1 and is parallel to y equals 3/5x minus 4. So this is how you're gonna do it now and forever. First, identify the slope. The slope here is 3/5. Let me see. Can you see that? Let me make it a little bigger. Sure. 3/5. Okay. That's all you need to know. Now, what is the slope of a line parallel? You see, sign of parallel. Oh my God, I'm getting better. Well, the parallel lines have the same slope, so the slope is 3/5. Then you need to write the equation. Remember, to write the equation of the line, you need a point and you need the slope. Well, we got the slope and we got the point. This is x and this is y. Okay, so to write the equation of the line, we summon upon my favorite friend, which is y equals mx plus b. And now we replace the information, x and y. So y is 1. The slope that we're using, since it's parallel, is going to be the same, so it's 3/5. Times the x component, which in this case is 5, plus 100% of the time, or 99% of the time, what we need is the y-intercept. So let's see now. Y equals, remember, when you multiply by a fraction, it's like you multiply by the top and divide by the bottom, or divide by the bottom and multiply by the top. So 5 times 3 is 15, divided by 5 is 3, or 5 divided by 5 is 1, times 3 is still 3. At this point, you should be able to know what you're going to do. So I'm going to subtract 3 on both sides. So that means that b becomes what? 1 minus 3 is what? -2. Remember, subtract 3, cancel out. 1 minus 3 is -2. So I got my new y-intercept and I got the slope. So I just write the equation of my line. Y equals the slope 3/5. The x is always there, and then plus b. You know, in this case, is -2, so y equals 3/5x minus 2. All right? Okay then. Now I'm gonna do the same equation, but this time I'm writing an equation that is perpendicular. So we begin by identifying the slope, which is 3/5. See that? Then we need to identify a perpendicular slope. Well, in this case will be -5/3, because we flip the fraction and we change the sign. This negative could be on top, in the bottom, or in the middle. Really doesn't matter. Okay, now that I got the slope that I need to work with and the order pair, I summon upon my favorite friend, y equals mx plus b, and replace the information. Y is 1. The slope that I'm using is the perpendicular slope, so that will be -5/3. And then the x that I need is 5. And then plus b, which is the y-intercept. Alright, so 1 equals, look, 5 doesn't go into 3 like that, so I'm not going to start doing this. I'm just going to go multiply by the top. So 5 times -5 is -25. And then over 3. If I wanted to, I could have put a 1 under this, and I said 5 times -5 is -25. 1 times 3 is still 3. You see, it really doesn't change anything. Plus b. Alright, so I'm solving for b, so I am going to add 25/3 on both sides. So you know what's going to happen. I'm gonna write 1 plus 25 over 3 equaling b. So in this case, I could show you a way of doing this on the calculator, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So look at this. I need 1 plus 25 over 3. So you want 1 plus 25 over 3. How do you do that? Alpha y equals, that gives you the menu for the fraction, and you put 25 over 3. And look at what magic happens. It gives you the answer as a fraction, 28 over 3. Take this off, and now I know that b is equal to 28 over 3. Okay, now to write the equation of my line. Sure. Y equals, the slope that I was using is negative 5 over 3. So negative 5 over 3, you put the x in it, okay? And then plus b. In this case, b is positive, so it's going to be plus 28 over 3. Now, this is the way I like it to write the equation, but if you want to put everything over 3, then your new equation will be y equals negative 5x plus 28 and everything over 3. Why I don't like this? Because then when I ask you for the slope, you might make a mistake and you might not really say negative 5 over 3. You might say negative 5. Or for the y-intercept, you might say 28 instead of 28 over 3. So that's why I prefer this form. Anyways, so we did parallel and perpendicular. Now, let's see. All right, so my throat hurts, so I'm not going to be talking that much, but the process is the same. Write an equation that passes through this point and is perpendicular to y equals 5x plus 3. First thing is identify the slope. Okay? Oh. Then identify the perpendicular slope. Well, 5 is the same thing as 5 over 1. So the perpendicular, you flip the fraction and change the sign. Okay? And now I'm going to write my equation. Alright, so I sum it upon, and I'm going to make this, I'm going to do this on purpose. Y equals mx plus b. Now we need to replace the information. Wait, hold it. Look at this point right here. 0 comma negative 2. We agree upon the fact that if the order pair is 0 comma something, that is your y-intercept. Oh, so that means I don't have to calculate anything. No, just have to write the equation. Y equals, and then what is the perpendicular slope? Negative 1 over 5. The x is always there. And then the y-intercept is negative 2. And that's your equation. You see that? Now, don't forget, if this is not the y-intercept, you need to go with y equals mx plus b. Then you replace negative 2 equals the slope, which is negative 1 over 5, times x, which is 0, plus b. And of course, your answer was already here, if you know it. Okay. What important concepts regarding slope need to be taken into account when we differentiate between parallel and perpendicular lines? Well, that parallel lines have the same slope and perpendicular lines have slopes that are opposite reciprocals. Beautiful. Give a real world example where parallel and perpendicular lines exist. Well, in my classroom, if you look at the ceiling, you look at the lights, that's an example of parallel lines. If you look at the walls, okay, or let me see, or a pole, no, the street, actually the street lights on a pole. If you look at that, you'll see that the pole is perpendicular to the ground. Well, most cases. Okay. One line passes through the point blah blah blah, negative 1 comma negative 2 and 1 comma negative 2. Another line passes through the points negative 2 comma 0 and 0 comma negative 4. Are these lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Well, in order for you to determine whether they parallel, perpendicular, or neither means that they will intersect but not at the 90-degree angle. Okay, that's basically what it means. because if they don't intersect, they might be parallel. So what determines that? And remember this, the slope determines whether they parallel or perpendicular or neither. So all I need to do is find out what the slope is. I don't need to write the equation of the lines. I just need to look at the slopes. So let's see, what is the slope of this line? Well, let's see. These are the ones and this is the twos. Okay? You know what? I'm gonna write it down. Okay, so that's for this line, and for the other line is negative 2, 0 and 0, 4. So let's see what the slope is here. So the ones and the twos. So y2 minus y1. So that will be 2 minus y1, which is negative 2, over 1 minus negative 1. So 2 minus negative 2 is 4. I don't have time to explain to you again why these two signs turn into a plus. So 4, and 1 minus negative 1 is 2. 4 over 2 is 2. So the slope here is 2. I'm sorry, I'm writing it up here. I should have put this over here anyways. The slope here is 2, or 2 over 1, whichever. Now let's figure out what the slope here is. So 4 minus 0 is 4, over 0 minus negative 2 is positive 2, making your slope 4 divided by 2 is 2. So they both have the same slope. So then the lines are parallel because they have the same slope. Okay, you could write it in here or you could write it in your notebook. Oh, getting better. Alright, number 2. Write an equation that is parallel to this equation and that passes through this point. Sure. The slope is negative, let me see, is it negative? I need to zoom in a little more. Okay, the slope is negative 2. The slope of a line parallel to it has to be negative 2 because they have the same slope. Now look at this point, negative 3, 5. This is not the y-intercept, so I cannot just write the equation. So that means that I have to summon upon my favorite friend. Y equals mx plus b, and replace the information. Y is 5. M is negative 2. X is negative 3. Plus b. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. That means that I'm going to have to add 6 to both sides. So 5 plus 6 is 11. At this point, you should be able to understand this. So the y-intercept is 11. So now I'm just going to write my equation. Y equals negative 2, which is the slope. X, which is always be there. It will always be there. Plus 11, which is positive. And that's the equation of the line parallel passing through this point. Alright. Again, write an equation that is parallel to this one. Y equals negative 7 over 2, blah, blah, blah. So I identify the slope. Remember, you have to solve for y in order to find the slope. This is already solved for y. And now the slope of a line that is parallel to it will be the same. So negative 7 over 2. So I'm good with that. Now I need to find the y-intercept. Well, this is not 0 comma something, so it's not the y-intercept. So therefore I have to summon upon my favorite friend. Okay, and now let's see, this is the y, so negative 6. The slope, negative 7 over 2. Times x, which is negative 4. Plus b. Okay, so let's see now. Negative times negative is positive. So you have negative 6 equals 28 over 2. Negative 4 times negative 7 is 28, and then divide by 2. I could have done it in one step, but anyways. So 28 divided by 2 is 14. Positive, right? But I'm solving for b. So if you want to write the 14, rewrite the whole thing right here, that's fine. Negative 6 equals 14 plus b. So what am I going to do with this 14? I'm going to subtract 14 on both sides, or I'm just going to take it and put it on the other side negative. So negative 6 minus 14 is negative 20. and that equals b. Okay, so now what? Now I write the equation, hello. So y equals the slope -7/2. You put the x, which is always going to be there, and then plus the y-intercept, which in this case is negative, so it's -20. That's it. Alright, let's move on. Okay, one line passes through the point 0, -4 and -1, -7. Another one passes through these 2 points. Are these lines parallel or perpendicular? Well, we need to do the same thing. We need to calculate the slopes. I'm going to divide this for the 2 to see whether the lines are parallel or perpendicular. So let's find the slope over here. So these are going to be the 1s and these are going to be the 2s. So I'm going to have y2 minus y1, so -7 minus -4 over, and then x2 minus x1, -1 minus 0. So let's see what is this. -7 minus -4 is the same thing as -7 plus 4. So that's -3. -1 minus 0 is still -1. Anyway, the slope here is +3/1. Or +3, however you want to do it. Now let's do it over here. Remember to write small so you can have enough space, or attach a loose leaf over here or write it on your notebook. Okay, now the other one. So these are the 1s and these are the 2s, correct? Or the 2s and the 1, it really doesn't matter. So let's see. y2 minus y1, 2 minus 0, over -3 minus 3. So 2 minus 0 is 2. -3 minus 3 is -6. Okay. Now, if you don't know how to reduce fractions, you can always put the fraction in the calculator, and the calculator will tell you what the reduced fraction is. Here, I'm going to do it by hand. So, to reduce a fraction, just divide by a number that you have in common. So, let me divide this by 2, and also by 2. You cannot divide by a different number. So, it's 1 over -3. Alright, so what kind of lines are these? Parallel? Well, they're not parallel because obviously they don't have the same slope. Okay, so are they perpendicular? Well, let's see. To get a perpendicular, we need to flip the fraction. So 3/1 becomes 1/3, and we need to change the sign. Yes, 1 over -3. This negative could be over here. Look. Really doesn't matter. So we flip the fraction and change the sign. Guess what? The lines are perpendicular. The lines are perpendicular because their slopes, okay, the slopes are opposite reciprocals. As simple as that. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Alright, so now I need to write an equation that is perpendicular to this and passes through this point. Not a problem. So let's identify the slope. Okay, if you don't know how to identify the slope, you need to go back to the previous lessons. So the slope here is 2, right, or 2/1 if you want to say it. Now the perpendicular slope will be -1/2. We flip the fraction and change the sign. Now, to write the equation of the line, we sum it upon y equals mx plus b. Guess what? Sorry. Guess what? I don't need to do all this. Why? Because I already have my y-intercept. My y-intercept is 0. Because remember the coordinates of the y-intercept? 0, b. Well, the y-intercept is 0, so all I have to do is write it down. So y equals the perpendicular slope, the x, which is always going to be there, and then plus 0, or just leave it like that. Just remember, if you only see the slope right here, that means that the y-intercept is 0. The slope is -1/2, meaning 1 down, 2 to the right. That will create a 90-degree angle with this line right here. Okay? Move on. Write the equation for the line that is perpendicular to this and passes through the given point. Alright, cool then. Watch this. I'm going to do it both ways, algebraically and non-algebraically. First, let me start with the non-algebraically. To find the equation that passes through this point, I need to identify the point. This point is -3, 0. Okay? Now, I need to identify the slope of this line. Okay, so the slope of this line, what are two nice points? Well, this is one I see what the line is pointing at. This is another one. So let me take this point and let me take, this is another, let me see, this is another nice point, right? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 3 down and 2 to the right. But let's see if it works right here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, it works. So that means that the slope is negative 3 over 2. See, 3 down and 2 to the right. Okay, I need a perpendicular slope. Hello, flip the fraction and change the sign. So it's going to be positive 2 over 3. That's all you needed to know. So from this point, we're just going to move 2 up and 3 to the right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. See that? Guess what? To write the equation, we need to have a y-intercept. Oh, that's not a problem. So we put the line together. Okay? Believe it or not, this line forms 90 degrees with this one right here. Look, 90-degree angle right here. Okay. So let me write the equation then. The equation is y equals, we know what the perpendicular slope is. We add the x to that slope. And now what we needed was to find a y-intercept, which we did when we traced the line and connected the points. The y-intercept is right here at 2. So that means that this is plus 2. Okay? Now let's say I didn't know how to do it graphically. Well, then you identify the point and you identify the perpendicular slope. And now you write y equals mx plus b. Then you replace, you know this is x and this is y. So 0 equals the perpendicular slope that you need times the x component, which is negative 3, plus b, and you do the same thing that we've been doing. Alright, look at this. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, divided by 3 is negative 2. Or negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1 times 2, negative 2. So you have 0 equals negative 2 plus b. You're going to add 2 to both sides and b becomes 2, which is this one right here. And then you write your equation. Okay. One line passes through these points and the other one passes through these points. I want to know if these lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Okay, you know how to determine that. You need to find the slopes. Because the slopes are the ones that determine whether the lines are parallel or perpendicular. Alright. So, let's see. They're not the same slope, so they're not parallel. They're not opposite reciprocals, so they're not perpendicular. So the lines are neither, okay, because their slopes are not the same and they're not opposite reciprocals. And that's what you write. Okay. Slope is negative 3. And now, this is not the y-intercept, okay? Because it's not 0, comma b. It's just the x-intercept because it's something, comma 0. So I don't need that. I have to actually do something. All right, I need parallel, so I'm going to be using the same slope. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. So we add 9 to both sides. So the y-intercept is 9. Please, at this point, you should already know this. And now you write the equation of your line. Let me see. That we did. Okay. That is perpendicular, and this is okay. This problem is the same as the one that you had before. The same as this problem on the previous page, I think. Negative 3. Let me see. Yeah, it is the same problem. So just refer to the previous page, and you'll understand. And please do it. Okay, if you leave it blank, I'm gonna mark the whole thing wrong. Okay, so what is the equation y equals 3x plus 2 parallel to this one? I don't know. In order for me to know, I have to compare both equations when they're solved for y. I mean, I could tell just by looking at it. The slope right here is gonna be negative 3 over 2. Okay, but let us solve it. So this is already solved for y. Look, y equals 3x plus 2. Okay, this one right here, let us solve. So the first thing is that we move the loose number to the other side, but we don't need to do anything because it's already on the other side. Then you take the x term, give it back to me, put it here, it's negative, and you're going to divide by 2. So the other one is y equals negative 3x, or negative 3 over 2x, okay? And then plus 3 over 2. So you already know how to solve it. All right, the slope here is negative 3 over 2. The slope here is 3. Therefore, they're not parallel. And why? Because they don't have the same slope, so they don't follow the same path, 2 up, to that, right? That's it. Okay, I need to write something that is perpendicular to this. So the first thing is the slope. Is it solved for y? Yes. So the slope is 1 over 3. Perpendicular slope, flip fraction, and change sign. So since I'm doing this algebraically and not graphically, I'm not gonna write 3 over 1. I'm just gonna leave it at 3. Then I summon my favorite friend, y equals mx plus b. I replace the values. So y and x, right? So y, the perpendicular slope, the x, plus b. 3 times 4 is 12. So I have 2 equals 12 plus b. So I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. So 2 minus 12 is negative 10. Okay? If you don't understand it like that, then do the whole process. Subtract 12 from both sides and blah, blah, blah. So I got y-intercept and I got the slope, and y equals 3x minus 10. That's your equation, and boom, I did it. Perpendicular. Damn. I need coffee. Okay. So let us do this one. What is the slope of a line that is perpendicular to this line? Okay. So watch this. In order to write an equation that is perpendicular to this, what is the slope of a line that is perpendicular to the line whose okay, I don't have to write an equation, I just have to find a perpendicular slope. Okay, so I just need to identify the slope here. Alright, I can tell you right now, the slope is going to be negative 3 over 4. If you move the 3 over there. But let us just do the long way. So I have negative 3x plus 4y equals 12. So I need to move the loose number to the other side. It's already on the other side. The 3x, take it, give it back to me. So you know you have 4y equals to negative 3x plus 12. 12 was always positive. And then you're going to divide by 4. So you have y equals negative 3 over 4x plus 12 over 4, which is 3. So your slope is negative 3 over 4. Perpendicular slope should be what? Flip and change the sign. So it will be positive 4 over 3. Choice number 3 is your right choice. And that's it. What is the slope of a line perpendicular to the line whose equation is this? So I need perpendicular, so I need to identify the slope. Look, get rid of the loose number, it's already on the other side. Get rid of the x, it's already on the other side. Divide by the number on the y, okay. So the slope will be negative 6 over 2, right? Which in this case, the slope will be, well, negative 6 over 2 translates to 6 divided by 2 is 3, so negative 3. Now, just for the purpose of this, right? So I need a perpendicular slope. Perpendicular slope. So it's positive 1 over 3. Okay. What is the slope of line perpendicular to the lines whose equation is this? Let me see now. The slope was, okay. Wait, hold on a second. It's negative 6 over 2 is negative 3. So it's positive 1 over 3. Look, there is nothing here. So therefore, you're going to say, okay, the choice is not there, but the slope is 1 over 3. As simple as that. If you catch it, you'll know it. If not, if you watch this, you know it. If not, then too bad. Alright. Here it gets tricky. What is the equation of a line that is parallel to this equation? Okay, the slope here is 1. So the slope of a line parallel to it should be also So the slope of a line parallel to it should be also 1, because parallel lines have the same slope. Alright, which of this equation has a slope of 1? Well, I can tell you right now, the slope here is what? Negative 1, because you're going to switch this to the other side, and there's nothing dividing the y, so it's just going to be switching. So that becomes negative x, so no. What about this one? Well, the slope here is going to be negative 2, because you're going to put the 2x on the other side. So it's negative 2, but you're not dividing by anything, so the slope is negative 2, not 1. What about here? Well, the loose number is already here, then you're going to take the negative x and you're going to put it on the other side, and there's nothing dividing the y. So when you put the x on the other side, you get positive x, positive 1x. The slope here is 1. So this line is that. Here, the slope is going to be positive 2. Okay? If you don't understand, you can always ask. But I suggest you go back to the beginning of the lesson so you can understand how to do this, or go back to the lesson where we solve for y. Okay. What is an equation of the line that passes through point this and is parallel to this line? Okay. Here, they're asking me for an equation, therefore I have to utilize all my skills. So I need to find the slope. Okay, this is not solved for y, so let us find it. You know what? I don't want to solve for y because I've been doing this like for the longest. So I'm just going to determine the slope. So the loose number is on the other side. This x is going to go to the other side, so it's going to be negative 4x. So the slope starts at negative 4, and then I'm going to divide by the number on the y. So the slope is negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2 over 1, right? Okay, the slope of a line parallel to it should be negative 2 as well, because we're using the same slope because they're parallel. Now I summon upon my favorite friend, which is y equals mx plus b. And now I replace, look at this, x and y. So 3 equals the parallel slope, the x, 7, plus b. So I need to solve for b. So negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. That means that I'm going to add 14 to both sides. So b, 17 is the y-intercept, and negative 2 is the slope. So my equation is y equals negative 2x plus 17. Okay. What is the slope of a line that is perpendicular to the line whose equation is blah blah blah? Okay, so what is the slope of this equation? Can you tell me now? Well, if you solve for y, or you know how to identify the slope, you know that the slope is negative 3 over 4. So perpendicular should be positive 4 over 3, right? So the answer is choice number 3. Determine whether the two lines are represented are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Justify your response. Okay, so let us identify the slope here. What is it? Good job. 2. Now let us identify the slope of the other line. It's not solved for y, so you gotta solve for y. So I already know that the x is on the same side as the y, so I'm gonna move the x to the other side, making it -1x. Okay, so I already know that it starts with -1, and I know that I'm gonna divide by 2. So the slope is -1/2. Okay, so to compare the slope, since I have a fraction here, let's make this also a fraction. Okay, so 2/1 becomes -1/2. Wait, they're perpendicular. Why? Because perpendicular slopes are opposite reciprocals, meaning what? You flip the fraction and change the sign. Okay, so the lines are perpendicular, and you write that down. I'm not gonna write it. The lines are perpendicular because they have slopes that are opposite reciprocals. Okay, if you didn't get it, then rewind it and you'll get it again. My throat is killing me. All right, let's go. What the hell is it? Write an equation for the line that is perpendicular. Okay, perpendicular again. You know what's up with perpendicular. I need to identify the slope of the original line. So the slope is, okay, where's a nice point? Right here is a nice point. Where else is a nice point? No, here. Okay, so let's see how I'll go from one point to the other one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the slope is 3/4. The slope of this line is 3/4. So that means that the slope of a line perpendicular to it should be -4/3. Flip the fraction and change the sign. Okay, and then I go to this point. I don't know what this point is. This point is -1, -2, -3, comma 1, 2, 3, 4. The point is -3, 4. Okay, since I'm not doing this algebraically, I'm gonna do it graphically. So I go to the point and I move in the perpendicular slope direction. So that means I need to move 4 down and 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Notice that this graph is limited, but so what? To write the equation of the line, you only need the slope and the y-intercept. So I already got the slope, and now I got the y-intercept right here. The y-intercept is 0. Oh, okay, so let me write the equation then. Y equals the perpendicular slope, then you put the x in it, and then plus 0, or just leave it like that. We understand that it's plus 0. Okay? Alright, let's move on. Oh my god. How much more do I have to do? Oh hell no, I'm not doing this. It's already 1 o'clock in the morning. Alright. Let's see if I can go faster. Write an equation for the line that is parallel to this and goes to this point. Okay, so let's find the slope of this line right here. Okay, nice point and nice point. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And it goes down, so it's negative. So the slope is -2/3. The slope of a line parallel to it should have the same slope, so it's -2/3. Okay, so then that's exactly what I'm gonna do here. From this point, I'm gonna move 2 down and 3 to the right. Funny thing is that if I move 2 down, 3 to the right, first of all, I'm gonna get out of the graph, and I'm never gonna achieve the y-intercept. So instead of moving down to the right, I'm gonna move up to the left. So let's see now, -2/3 is the same thing as 2/-3. So 2 up and 1, 2, 3 to the right. I got my y-intercept. 2 up and 1, 2, 3 to the right. So this is my line right here. Okay, so now I write the equation. Y equals -2/3x, and then the y-intercept is negative. Is it -4 or +4? -4 minus 4. And of course, look, parallel lines. Duh, same slope. All right. Let me go to this one. Okay, you know what? This one is the same problem that you had before, so I'm not even gonna do it. Just go back to the previous problem, so I can skip that. Okay, find the slope of a line perpendicular to the line whose equation is this. Well, what is the slope of this line? It's gonna move on to the other side, so it's positive 6 over 2. Because I'm gonna divide by this number. And so the slope is 3. But I need perpendicular. So if perpendicular, you need to flip the fraction, then there's gonna be 3 over 1. So the slope of a line perpendicular to it is gonna be negative 1 over 3. As simple as that. All right, good job. All right. Okay, perpendicular to this line. First, I need to identify the slope. The slope here is negative 1/2. Okay. Then perpendicular slope is gonna be 2 over 1 positive. But since I'm doing algebra, I'm just gonna use the 2 instead of the 2 over 1. Okay, write an equation for the line that is perpendicular. That's funny. It doesn't say that it goes through any point. Maybe I made a mistake. But you know what? So the answer, it's either, since I have a perpendicular slope right here, the answer is either 3 and 4. Right? Because they both have perpendicular slope to this. Definitely not, because this is parallel and parallel, because they have the same slope. All right, that wasn't difficult. Which equation represents a line that is perpendicular to the line here? Okay. The slope here is what? Not easy to determine? Not a problem. We solve for y then. So you got 2x minus y equals 7. I am not gonna do the whole process. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this y here and make it positive, take this 7 here and make it negative. So I'm gonna have 2x minus 7 equals y. I hope you understood that. If not, then do it the long way. Subtract 2x on both sides, then multiply by negative 1, whichever you want to do. It really doesn't matter to me. All right. Perpendicular. Well, the slope here is 2. So the perpendicular slope should be negative 1 over 2, because this is 2 over 1. So you flip the fraction and change the sign. You make it perpendicular. So which of these is negative 1 over 2? Choice number 1. Okay. Slope of a line that is perpendicular. What is the slope of this line? Negative 20 over negative 2. 10. So the slope of a line perpendicular should be negative 1 over 10. Oh gosh, okay. So what is the equation of the line that passes through point 6 and is parallel? All right, I shouldn't do this for you. I'm just gonna tell you what to do. Since you already have a graph, it's not that difficult. Remember, you only need to identify the slope and the y-intercept. So you could do it, pretend that you don't have the graph, and you could always do it algebraically. So GM shows these points right here, right? With negative 6, 1 and 3, negative 5. Okay? Then we need the equation of the line that passes through point 6, 1. All right then. So let's go just to 6, 1 and see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Okay? That's 6, 1. How do you write an equation of the line? Well, you need a couple of pieces of information. You need the slope and you need the y-intercept. So the slope is what? Well, you could either figure out the slope using the formula here, or you could just count from one point to the other. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Oops, sorry. Okay, better like that? Sure. Let me help you even more. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's going down, so it's negative 6 over 9. Okay, so the slope is negative 6 over 9. Now what does that mean? That the slope in reality, okay, let us reduce this. If you put it on the calculator, it'll give you the right the simplified form. So can I divide both of them by 3? Yes. So this is negative 2 over 3. That's basically your slope. Let's see. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's basically what it is. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay then. So you got the slope, and we're talking about parallel lines. Parallel lines have the same slope, so I'm gonna use the same slope. But now I'm gonna use it through this point. So the slope is negative 2 over 3. So I'm gonna go 2 down and 1, 2, 3 over. Unfortunately, if I continue this way, I'm never gonna get to my y-intercept. So instead of going 2 down and 3 to the right, I'm gonna go 2 up and 1, 2, 3 to the left. 2 up and 1, 2, 3 to the left. I found the y-intercept. Alright, you don't have to connect it, but I'll connect it. Okay, and I hope I'm doing it right. Okay. So anyway, so my y-intercept is nothing more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My y-intercept is 5. Okay, so then I write my equation. Y equals, since it's parallel, they have to have the same slope. You put the x in there, and then plus 5. If you don't like to do it graphically, by all means, after you identify the slope, then write y equals mx plus b, type the point 6, 1, or in other words, replace the point there, the y, the x, and you follow the same thing that we've been doing over and over. So anyways, so negative 2 over 3x plus 5. Choice number 2. Okay? Oh my god, my throat is killing me. If you're tired, imagine me. Okay, what is the slope of a line perpendicular to this? The slope, okay, what is the slope of this line? Right away, you should know already. Right, negative 5 over 3. Because if you solve for y, or if you already know how to see it, then negative 5 over 3. I need perpendicular, so that means that I need perpendicular. Negative 5 over 3 turns into positive 3 over 5, and answer. So which of these equations has a slope of 3 or 3 over 1? Okay, what is the slope here? Well, you're gonna subtract 2x from both sides. That's not gonna give you a slope of 3 over 1. Here you're gonna subtract here, and you're gonna have a slope of positive 2. No, sorry. The loose number is on the other side. The x is already on the other side of the y. So the slope is negative 2 over 6. Okay. Here, what is the slope? Negative 9 over negative 3. And here, what is the slope? Negative 3 over 1. Remember what you need. You need a perpendicular slope. So this is negative 9 over negative 3. Negative 9 over negative 3. Negative divided by negative is positive. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So, oh, oops. Okay, so you found it. Alright, so I need to find out what the slope is here. So the slope of this line is negative 1/2. Okay, and why is people still awake in here? So m, and now the slope of the other line is negative 3/6. Negative 3/6, which basically translates into well, let us reduce this. So they both can be divided by 3, so then this becomes negative 1/2. Okay, now look at this. They have the same, they have the same slope. Oh damn, they're parallel. Oh, okay. And justify your response. Okay, they're parallel because they have the same slope. So here, now if the slope were not the same and they were not opposite reciprocals, then your choice would have been neither parallel nor perpendicular. Alright, so write an equation that is parallel to this. So y equals, and this is negative 3, right? So the slope is negative 3. Parallel, that means that a parallel slope would also be negative 3. Alright, passes through point 3, 0. So I need to write y equals mx plus b. Okay, I'll do it. Okay, and now let us replace the values. So 0 equals the parallel slope, which is negative 3, times the x, which is 3 here, plus b. Okay, and now 0 equals negative 9 plus b. I need to find out what the value of b is. Well, I add 9 to both sides, or I just take the 9 and put it on the other side. So b equals 9. Now I'm able to write my equation. Y equals negative 3x plus 9. Okay, and that's it. That's the equation problem. All right, two lines are represented by these equations. Okay, for which value of m will the lines be parallel? So what is the slope of this line? Let's see, negative 1/2y equals 6x plus 10. Let me solve for y. This is one of the weird problems where you cannot just divide by the number on the y, but you still need to get rid of this negative 1/2. So the only way to do that is by multiplying by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of negative 1/2 is negative 2/1. It doesn't really make sense to me for me to put a 1 under it, but hey, whatever works. So anyway, the idea behind multiplying by the reciprocal is to get rid of that number. Look, 2 cancels with 2 and 1 cancels with 1. Negative times negative is positive, so y. Now here, remember, anything divided by 1 is itself, so it really doesn't make any sense to put a 1 under. But let's multiply. 6x times negative 2 is negative 12x. Plus 10 times negative 2 is negative 20. Over 1, still negative 20. So the slope of this line is negative 12. So what would the slope of the line, what would be the value of m right here? It has to be negative 12 because parallel lines have the same slope. See that? So for which value of m? Negative 12. Alright, good. By now, you shouldn't need my help anymore. You should be able to do it on your own. And my coffee just went cold. Alright. What is the slope right here? Use your common sense. Let's see how much more. Oh, finally. Okay. So the slope here is 1 over 2. So the perpendicular slope should be negative 2 over 1. In this case, since I'm gonna do algebra, I'm just gonna use negative 2. I'm not gonna use negative 2 over 1. You only use this when you're graphing. So I sum upon my favorite friend. Check to see if I did it right. Did I replace this one correctly? Okay. Alright, negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. So it's gonna be 3 equals negative 8 plus b. I'm gonna add 8 to both sides. b is 11, right? So now I write my equation, which is y equals negative 2x and then plus 11. Okay, parallel lines, okay. Parallel lines have the same slope, so now I sum upon my favorite friend. I replace the values. The 2's cancel out, so that only leaves a 3, so that's 3 equals negative 3 plus b. I'm gonna add 3 to both sides, so I get b equals 6. Okay, and now I write the equation of my line. Parallel lines, okay. Determine whether the two lines are represented by the equation blah blah are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Okay, the slope here is 2 over 1 if you want to, and the slope here is, well, I gotta move the x to the other side, so negative 1 over 2. So you know what they are right now, and justify your response. Alright, write an equation of the line that passes through the point 6, -5 and is parallel to the line. Who's this? Okay. So I need to identify the slope. Well, the slope here is negative 2 over negative 3, okay, because you gotta put this in here, which is the same thing as 2 over 3. What do you want? Parallel? Okay, so I'm gonna be using the same slope. And I think a mosquito just bit me, like, damn, they're eating me alive. They don't sleep. Alright. I sum upon my favorite friend. And I'm going to replace the information. Negative 5 and 6. So alright. So now, let's see. 6 times 2 is 12. Divided by 3 is 4. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides, and I'm going to get negative 9 equals b. Now you got your y-intercept, you got your slope, you write your equation. As simple as that. I'm not going to do it for you. Alright, this one is the same as problem 36, so you should be able to do it. What is an equation of the line that passes through point 7, 3 and is parallel to the line? That? I think I did this before, but you know what? I'm not gonna do it for you. I have to identify what the slope is. And then parallel, that means I'm gonna be using the same slope. You sum it upon plus b, right? Oh, look. Hey, what happened? You cannot see my finger. Oh, because you're focusing here? Okay. And you do the rest, okay? That marks the end of this one. By now, you should be gangsters at doing this. That's quiz number 7. Is based on the previous lesson, so I don't have to do it for you. Make sure you do it so you have an insight or understanding of what to do. See you on the next lesson, okay? Bye-bye.